Hello friends, today's book summary is Organize Tomorrow Today. To change your life for the better, change one habit at a time. 8 ways to retrain your mind to optimize performance at work and in life. What's so special about people who excel? Is it superior talent? Were they born with advantage? No, successful people come from all backgrounds and walks of life. Not every person start out as stellar success. But they all do share one feature. They all have awesome habits. So what exactly are successful habits and how do you get them to? This summary will explain in details the 8 ways to retrain your mind and change for the better. Even focusing on one new habit will help you go the distance when it comes to becoming more focused and productive. Chapter 1. It's just not productive to focus on more than one goal at a time. You want positive results. Have you ever felt the need to make a positive change in your life? Maybe you have already made a list of all the small things you would like to alter. But making a long list is not the most effective way to go about making improvements. Why? It's a fact that our conscious mind can only process between 5 to 9 concepts or pieces of information at a time. This phenomenon is called channel capacity and was first identified by psychologist George Miller in 1956. No matter what you are reading or looking at, from words to color or numbers, your working memory can only store a limited amount of data at any given time. And working memory is all a person has from moment to moment, whether making an argument or trying to solve a math problem. So, given the limitation, it makes sense that trying to tackle too many tasks at once can be overwhelming. This also holds true when you try to change too many things at once in your life, since every task you try to complete requires its own amount of data. Your working memory can suffer from information overload when you try to juggle multiple tasks at a time. When this happens, important data can get improperly proposed and you might make a mistake, or worse, your conscious mind will shut down. You can think of this like a computer freezing when you have opened up too many applications. This author has witnessed this dilemma firsthand. People have told him that when they try to change 2 or 3 things in their life at the same time, they get stuck. But when they focus on only one thing at a time, the result can be unbelievable. So the best way to improve your life and get positive result is to commit yourself to changing just one thing at a time. Chapter 2. Prioritizing tasks and organizing tomorrow is the key to better time management and productivity. People may look productive when they frantically hurry from one task to the next or by multitasking to the point of distraction, but such behavior just points to a person who has poor time management skill. The secret to having a productive tomorrow is to organize it today. Organizing effectively means prioritizing your task by making a list of the 3 most important things you want to achieve. Sure as well to include the time needed to accomplish these tasks. Then from your there 3 tasks, pick one that absolutely needs to be done that very day. In doing so, you will be sure to focus on what's important to you and will be less likely to forget or push aside a task that might be more difficult in favor of an easier goal. Plus, by only focusing on 3 tasks instead of being overwhelmed, you will find increased confidence in being able to accomplish all your stated goals. There are also 3 important things to keep in mind when making your list. First, don't make the mistake of listing a big, complex project as one item. Instead, find a smaller and more manageable task within the big project that you can add up to the list. Second, prioritize and schedule wisely. Carefully identify your most important task for tomorrow and be sure you schedule enough time to complete it. Many, the period between lunch and 3 p.m. is a great window for uninterrupted work. Third, write it down. Putting your plan on paper is about more than just remembering what to do. Writing activities, a specific part of your brain called the reticular activating system (RAS). This area acts like a filter and puts important information, such as the things you write down, at the forefront of your mind. So with a prioritized written plan of attack, you will be ready to conquer the day ahead. Chapter 3. Maximize the time you have by finding ways to structure goals and increase meeting productivity. Do you ever look at your to-do list and wish there were more than 24 hours in a day? Here are 4 tips on how you can make the most out of the time you have. Tip number 1. Don't waste waiting around. You might not think the time between appointment is valuable, but these short periods can add up to significant hours. So instead of twiddling your thumbs or checking Facebook, spend your extra time productivity. Chances are there are like email you can reply or paperwork that needs to be done. Tip number 2. Use the ask and chop technique to avoid procrastination. This is a helpful technique when you are confronted with a task that feels too overwhelming to even first ask yourself, what is the first step that needs to be taken? Then simply focus on chopping off that first step by completing it. Then repeat the question by chopping away the task in a small step. You will make progress without being intimidated by the scale of the larger project. Tip number 3. Set your game clock. Create a challenge by giving yourself a short amount of time for a small task. When you meet your deadline, you will see how efficient you can be and learn that you really can do more with less time. And finally, tip number 4. Pre-structure your meeting to meet solid goals. Unstructured, aimless meetings are a waste of time. People end up jumping from topic to topic or spending the meeting focusing on minor details. Make your meeting productive by giving it a focus. Open the meeting by articulating a clear goal that outlines what you want to accomplish. Everyone at the meeting will then be aware of the meeting's focus, and you can spend the rest of the time productively in reaching that goal. Close the meeting by dedicating a short amount of time for questions and proposal. With these tips, you will be well on your way to creating more time in your working day by using each minute as efficiently as possible. 4. Create a ritual of your new lifestyle goals to avoid procrastination and stick to a new positive behavior. Many people make New Year resolution to kick a bad habit or to get into better shape. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon to revert to old habits or bad behavior after just a few weeks. So how can you stick to a plan and develop new and better habits? Start by making a ritual of the positive habits you want to adopt. Making a ritual means doing something at the exact same time each and every day. If you want to go to gym more often, ritual this new habit by setting a specific time to go, example 8:30 am every day, and commit to it. By making your new goal a ritual, you will be less tempted to procrastinate or postpone. But if you start to doubt or feel like slacking off, remember that changing habits gets easier with time. As you start trying to change your habit, you can run into situations where old behaviors like lying on the couch watching television might feel like a better opinion. But when this happens, resist the temptation by reminding yourself that this is a normal temporary phase on the path to a great new lifestyle. You might have to fight through these early stages, but it will get easier the longer you stick with it. To boost your fighting spirit, ask yourself 2 questions. How will I feel when I win this fight and stay committed to my new habit? How will I feel if I give up? This question will help provoke feeling within you that can motivate you to stick with your goals. Finally, imagine how your new lifestyle will change things for you in the long run. It helps to do this through visualization. Imagine your new self as a healthy, productive, and confident person. This technique keeps your goal in mind and will motivate you to keep going for it. By applying these basic thinking techniques, anyone can stay committed to establishing new habits or making healthy lifestyle changes until the change finally becomes second nature. Chapter 5. Self-evaluation is effective as long as you focus on the process, not just the result of your work. Do you ever hesitate starting a task for fear that you may make a mistake or fall short of your own expectation? If so, you might be a perfect person, and this can get in the way of evaluating yourself fairly. When a perfect person performs a self-evaluation, he or she is likely to focus more on shortcoming over whether something as a whole was done well. By basing a self-evaluation on the highest of a standard, you are simply setting yourself up for disappointment. You can either fail to reach those standards and let yourself down, or you can meet expectation and see no reason to appreciate good work. This can result in negative feedback, which in turn leads to stress and low self-confidence. The better method is to appreciate when you do things well. Take the advice of legendary basketball coach John Wooden. He said that the most successful people always give themselves credit when it's due. It's also important to focus more on the process than on the result. By paying attention only to result, you won't learn what needs to be done to get the results you want. When you focus on the process, you will learn that works best to reach your goals and what you might need to improve. Consider creating a success log or a daily journal that will help you evaluate your process in a useful way. Start your journal, write down the realistic goal you hope to achieve every day, and take the time to evaluate your goal afterward. You should answer 3 questions. What did I do well today? What is one aspect I would like to improve for tomorrow? Is there one thing I can do differently? When you answer these questions, you are focusing on setting goals around behavior and not the external result. So be on the lookout for behavior that contribute to success. They will point the way to continued process. Chapter 6. How you think and talk to yourself can either build you up for success or let you down towards failure. Have you ever talked yourself out of doing something? Maybe you were going to apply for a new job or ask for a promotion, but then you thought, why bother? It's not going to happen. I will just end up getting my hopes crushed. This is a bad habit that you can change. How you talk to yourself impacts your self-confidence. Over the time, we tend to believe whatever it is that we tell ourselves. You can either convince yourself that you will fail by thinking negatively, or you can boost your confidence and increase your chances of success by encouraging yourself. Even if you are doubtful in the face of a challenge, you will find that by continuing to feed yourself with positive thought, you will eventually feel the necessary confidence to get on with it. After all, you will never even approach a challenge if you don't allow yourself the belief that you will succeed. Think of it like a coach. When a team is facing a tough match, it's a coach's job to rally the team with positive messages and keep them motivated. Without hope, no one would bother trying. Another important technique is to keep yourself from overthinking a problem. When you overthink, your mind turns the problem into an unsolvable obstacle, which can end up paralyzing you into inaction. Your brain releases stress hormone, leading to tension and loss of any creative intelligence. This usually ends with the overthinker giving up to escape the stress. A much better way to achieve a goal is to relax and, instead of focusing on the problem, concentrate on the solution. Take stock of everything you have at your disposal, the tools that can help you solve your problem. Rather than becoming overwhelmed, take the task step by step, think positively, and work out a gradual solution. Chapter 7. By writing thoughtful speech, practicing often, and speaking calmly, you will get your message across. Chances are you don't enjoy making speeches in front of large groups of people, but every professional can learn how to give a decent speech. Here are some keys to help you learn how. There are two important points to giving a good presentation: preparation and practice. When you prepare a speech, you want to make sure your audience understand your main ideas. In previous we learned that the mind can only handle a certain amount of information. Building on this, be aware that your audience to stay engaged requires a well-structured speech. You will also need to remove any element in your speech that might distract a listener or obscure your message. To do this, write down your entire presentation and look at the first and last 5 minutes. Take out any details that seem superfluous with your presentation lean and organized. You can then rehearse delivering it to an audience. If you are overly nervous, you might appear awkward, fidgeting with clothes or hair. Before you take to the stage, reassure yourself that you are well prepared and boost your self-confidence by rehearsing the speech until you can recite it effortlessly. Chapter 8. Being a normal person can get in the way of achieving greatness. Seek to be abnormal. Why are people so hung up on being normal? Can you think of any great artist, writer, or scientist who was considered normal? Normal people have traits or viruses that can keep them from achieving their goals. But abnormal people are immune to these viruses and refuse to let them interfere with personal success. The main virus that plagues normal people is procrastination. The normal person is scared to pursue an ambitious goals, worried that failure awaits, and for that normal person, it is easy to find excuses not to start laundry, a dirty kitchen, and so on. But the abnormal person does not look for excuses. Abnormal people look for ways around any obstacle. If the dog ate a notebook, the abnormal person will staple together some paper and make a new one. Abnormal people take control of their faith, convinced that they alone can achieve their goal. A secondary virus related to procrastination is focusing on things you can't control. Normal people can blind themselves from the things they can control by obsessing over things they can't. It's too cold or rainy outside. The neighbor's dog is barking. The coffee shop raised its prices, and so on. By focusing on such concern, normal people will distance themselves from the aspect of their life that they can actually improve. For abnormal people, such concerns are a waste of time and energy. Instead, they pay attention to what they can control and the parts of their life they can improve. So, do what abnormal people do. Create a step-by-step plan of action. What you would like to improve in your life and how to make it happen. You can even add a list of things you can and you can't control to make sure you don't get distracted along the way. Thank you so much for listening.